I saw this and was like, really? That's very, very weird. So the Houston Texans have fired their head coach, David Culley, after just 1 year. It's very weird. Like, you know that song? It's like, how bizarre. Do, 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 do. I forget, I think it's Portugal the Man, something like how bizarre. Play that. It's like, how bizarre. What's going on? Houston went 4-13 this year. And when they first hired David Culley to be their head coach, I remember literally, he was the Ravens passing game coordinator. And I remember thinking, first of all, who is this guy? I've never really heard of him before. B, the Ravens are not a very good passing team. They're known for running the football very well. And I was not excited about David Culley at all. I literally think I said he's the only doofus who's willing to take the job, right? But I'm not going to lie to you. As the year went on and I watched Houston and he won 4 games, I thought they were going to be by far the worst team in the entire NFL. And he actually, in my opinion, overachieved. David Culley gained my respect. He hired good coaches. Pep Hamilton was his quarterback coach. He had a rookie quarterback, Davis Mills, playing very, very well. You could argue that Davis Mills was the best rookie quarterback this year, him or Mac Jones, but Mac Jones had a lot of help in New England. Davis Mills did not have that. And David Culley had basically nothing to work with. And I got to say, I feel horrible for the guy. He got an opportunity to be a head coach. Yeah, he didn't have a winning season, but he took a situation in Houston that no other coach is willing to even take. He did not deserve to get fired. I walked away with a bunch of respect for him, feeling bad for him for getting fired. And Houston, wow. How tone deaf can you be? Does anybody remember the narratives from last offseason? All anybody was saying was that the culture in Houston, it's the worst in the entire league. Hey, guess who kind of helped repair the reputation of the Houston Texans? The guy you just fired, David Culley. Because you're not seeing those reports anymore, but part of it's because of David Culley. And maybe what Houston saw, Nick Caserio, the GM, has a New England connection, and maybe he's like, hey, I'm going to hire Brian Flores to get fired by Miami. I don't know. Maybe they have a good hire lined up, and I'm oblivious. I don't know. But I wouldn't want that job. I'm like, in Houston, if you overachieve and do well and better than expected, they're going to fire you after 1 year. The only guy, David Culley, the only person who would actually work with them, they turned their back on. Okay, yeah, I don't trust ownership at all forever in Houston. I already hated the ownership and hated the management. Now I'm like, it's worse than I even thought. Now, they do have some good stuff to work with. Maybe, arguably, in Houston, they have Davis Mills, this young quarterback who, again, arguably the best rookie quarterback last year. They have Deshaun Watson's right. So maybe if the legal stuff figures itself out, maybe you can trade Deshaun Watson for some good draft picks that can be leveraged into a way to, build around Davis Mills. I don't know. But this is a weird move. Where's that Portugal the Man song? How bizarre. Do, how bizarre. I don't get it, man. I really don't understand. And even weirder, and this is why I think it might be that, hey, they saw that Brian Flores got hired. Nick Caserio, the GM in Houston, has a connection. He's like, hey, maybe I can hire, Brian Flores. Although I don't know why Brian Flores would go somewhere without a star quarterback, because that appeared to be his problem before. But unless they have somebody they're going to hire lined up, which maybe they do, because usually you fire your head coach Monday after the games are over. Houston waited until Thursday. So stuff happened. Somebody changed their mind and decided to get rid of David Culley then. So maybe it was, hey, we didn't believe Brian Flores was going to get fired. We want to go get him instead. That could be possible. But David Culley got the short end of the stick. He got shafted. He got screwed over. And I thought he did a very, very admirable job as head coach of the Houston Texans, and way better than anybody expected him to do. And I thought he was competitive a couple times this year and was not supposed to be. So for them to fire him feels unjust and weird, and they turned their back on, again, the only guy who was willing to work with them last year. So Houston, good luck. Unless you got somebody lined up, though. Oh, boy. We'll see what happens in Houston, but I'm not excited for them or their future, unless, of course, they make a shocking hire and hire somebody really good. Maybe they hire Brian Flores. Maybe they hire Eric Bieniemy, maybe Deshaun Watson gets cleared. I have no idea what's going to happen, but there's a lot up in the air. I don't trust ownership, and I'm not going to bet on the Deshaun Watson situation working out well. So if I'm a potential coach of the Houston Texans, I'm like, I guarantee you there's a lot of better opportunities elsewhere around the league with, by the way, a team that has more talent, a team that has a ownership that you can trust. It's not like the Houston Texans are loaded with a bunch of really good talent either. So I don't know, man. I can't imagine that that's a very, very attractive job, but we'll see what happens. I'm not hating the Houston Texans, but well, maybe I am a little bit. They screwed over a guy I really gained respect for, David Culley, and that felt wrong to me.